I'm Adam Webb. What you've seen running around your screen just now are a couple of the TV shows which have been running for several years on television stations here in Central Europe. I work for a person called Desiree Dubounet. Perhaps an interesting person, perhaps a spooky person, but I personally believe one of the most interesting people I've ever met. So when you put it all together, you come up with this amazing picture of Desiree Dubounet, but how does it all fit into being one person? Well, the answer is that it's more than one person. Genetically, Desiree is a mutant. She does have that 1 or 2 or 7 extra chromosomes, and that does make her more than the average being. So giving her superpowers, giving her this absolute ability that we don't have, then I suppose it is like the X-Men. And people are scared of mutants like in the X-Men movie, and perhaps some people are scared of Desiree Dubounet for exactly the same reason. So, let's find out. Who's afraid of Desiree Dubounet?
Ladies and gentlemen, kezdődjék a ma esti show. A színpadon fogadjátok szeretettel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on the stage the shining star from the sky of Bohemian Lullaby, the queen of rock and roll. Is not cock enough rock. She's chick with a dick. She's singing live. Desiree Dubounet. Halljak egy nagy tassad.
Yeah, I'm a freaking cartoon character. Don't you treat me this way, 'cause I'll be back on my feet one day.
I don't care if you do, 'cause it's understood you ain't got no money and you're no good.
If I say you so, I guess I'll pack my bags and go.
That's right, hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more.
Desi, Dr. Nelson, is a brilliant genius, fantastical, colorful, flamboyant, eccentric, amazing being.
Hello, Desiree. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you? I'm going to show you around my world.
This is a very good day in the life of Desiree.
Any messages?
No.
Okay, no messages. Normal day. This is the major office. This is Laventa, and this is where we make our medical software.
I've worked with Dr. Nelson for probably about 7 years now, and he's a very interesting person because he's got tremendous energy and gets involved in many different things.
I'll tell you more about this later. This is one of the computer offices where we
edit our movies, edit our TV shows. We're working on a movie about the 1956 Hungarian Revolution now. He's working on that. We make a children's TV show. We're working on this station.
I really believe that Desiree deserves the critical acclaim that's due to him.
So we work in. Come on in. This is the sound room.
The first time that I heard of Desiree, I must say that I was pretty apprehensive. But after I investigated and I actually heard, I was, to put it simply, blown away. I was very impressed. It's incredible.
I've recorded about 300 different songs, and with the movies and everything, I've recorded some 37 albums.
Your own original material?
Probably 10% original material. I have about 15 original songs. And then I do Elvis. I do a lot of things. What do you got, Istvan? Can you play us something? We don't have the speakers in here, though.
A little Tammy Wynette?
Yeah, do you have Stand By Your Man?
Very nice.
I have that. I've done that. So this is my one. I'm going to come back here later today, and I'm going to record something. Okay.
As a music producer, I hear things all the time, and I can honestly say his voice is world class.
I know that voice. And is this for film?
This is for an album. I recorded all the old songs.
Oh, okay, super.
You're good. How about Mad Dogs and Englishmen? But I recorded a whole bunch of oldies.
And these are for like separate CD
Mac the
projects?
Knife. Yeah, it's a separate CD. Smoke It's in Your Eyes.
Oh, super.
Unforgettable.
The standards.
The interesting thing that I've always liked about Bill was that he says to be non-judgmental. And the interesting thing is that he captures a lot of energy in different realms, like Desiree. He can do that. It may not be that I could do that, but he can do that, and you can accept him from where he is. I think it gives him the left brain, right brain outlook on things in life.
To the forum. Okay.
All right.
We continue our tour. Working on DDT and some other different things. We had a problem with the roof. No more rain?
Well, it's up for a while.
The rainforest is stopped there.
It's nice and new.
We have 3 more workstations in here. We're working on DDT and some of our TV shows, movies. This is the 3D room. The boys work on 3-dimensional. He's working on a battle between 3D Desiree. 3D Desiree doesn't drink as much. A little skinnier. And 3D Johnny, one of the bad guys. But this is what we do in here. So we do most of the 3-dimensional work. We're showing you. So we do work for the machine company and for the movies and other things. So this is our 3D room.
The fact that she's doing movies and stand-up comedy, which I saw, which is great as well, just proves that if you're a real talent, then you will rise anywhere in the world.
This is where I live. I'll tell you where I live. Here's our kitchen. Here's my wife, Ildiko. Come here, meet these people. She ran away.
Yes, they will.
My bathroom.
And it is a bathroom room.
Big bath. I told Ildiko I needed a bathtub. So she bought the biggest thing she could get.
And all the products to go with.
And she's a shopaholic. Yeah. So until she has 25 of everything. This is just Desiree's master closet.
Okay. Now I hear there's rumors that people have come in and never come out.
Every now and then we find a poor lass.
Yeah.
Desiree? Well, that's my son Sterling. He's in school right now. He goes to the British school. So he's my youngest. We have a ghost that comes into the house. Yeah. Stops right here. He turns, he looks at me in the bed, and then he walks out. And he'll do that 10 or 12 times a night. And Sterling will see him, Ildiko's seen him. This is the only ghost that I've seen in the whole house, but other people said there's other ones. They say there's a poker game on the second floor. Yeah. You know, but this is the one ghost that I've seen. This is our TV room. Ildiko's clothes in the back, and her collection of dolls. Well, she used to put them in the bedroom. I wake up at night and they're all looking at me.
Yeah.
I can't take that.
When you go away, they have parties over
Right. I'm sure they do. Because they're in different positions when you come home.
Yeah.
I work out.
And travel, also.
Yes. See, the customs people don't realize that actually we're smugglers. We smuggle in suitcases. This is Ildiko's office, etc. And here we have a picture. This is one of the early portraits of Leonardo da Vinci. This is supposed to be the same woman who's the Mona Lisa. Mm-hmm. And now historians know that this is actually a self-portrait. Leonardo da Vinci was arrested at the age of 19 for posing as a woman and offering to have sex. Yeah. When they came to the court case, the people that he did that to, the witnesses, were gone. But if you look at the picture and look at the hand, mm-hmm. you could definitely tell. That's his clue. Because that's a self-portrait. See the hand of a painter, a man's hand. And if you look, they check the eye distance of the eyes and the nature of the face, and this is a self-portrait when he was young. And then later on, the Mona Lisa is a self-portrait when he was older. This is Adam and Eve being cast out of paradise.
Yeah, it was like that.
You were there? You had the apple and the...
Well, yeah.
So, this is my little clinic. This is where we see patients.
Mark, he's created a platform to heal the world. He's created a device that is beyond our cognition. He's created so many amazing... He's planted so many seeds in the world to help us unite, unify, heal, raise our consciousness, be more loving, be more strong, be more expressive.
This is where we see patients, and then Ildiko wanted to build the waterfalls. And it has smoke coming out of it.
That sounds very good.
She's that type of person.
Can't wait to use that.
So this is the blue box where we do shootings for the movies. And this is, when I built it, was the largest blue box in all of Hungary. Now I think it's second. One of the TV stations has a big one. So we do work in here. This is a set scene for the TV. We do a TV talk show. We're thinking about the future. Then we're talking about doing a 24-hour broadcast on the internet TV. And we'll be using this for news and different things. So we've been setting this up, putting in the lights. We haven't finished it yet. And we'll go downstairs. My first club was here. All the basement.
Yeah.
It was like a catacombs. And here's where we can sit and talk.
What I wanted to tell everyone is Bill is illustrating to us transformation and transcendence. We are witnessing the world expand through him and before him. He is illustrating what it is to reach for your dreams, go for your goals, and be who you want to be.
Lock me away and don't forget the day inside where I hide with my loneliness. I don't care what they say, I won't stay in a world without love.
I'm Dr. Scott, and I've been asked to come and talk today about Desiree's brain. Bill/Desiree was injured early in life during a football game, and it was after this accident that we discovered that his brain was, in fact, very different to others. He has 3 different arteries on each side of the brain and 2 different veins, which produces an increased blood flow. This increase in vascularization seems to have affected Desiree's brain in its capacity for performance.
How did this all take place? You're from America, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, I used to be an electrical engineer. I worked on the Apollo project, and I was able to, as a child, they call me Wunderkinder, because I was just very intelligent, especially with mathematics and things. And I was chosen out of 15,000 applicants. I was chosen to be the one as a college to work on the Apollo project. We built the navigation system. And I helped bring the boys back in Apollo 13. Then they wanted me to work on bombs, and I didn't want to work on bombs. I decided that I wanted to get into medicine. And I wanted to learn about psychology, and I wanted to learn about these things. But then I saw that medicine was all about drugs, all about synthetic, especially synthetic drugs.
Natural medicine is something that's very difficult for many people to understand, especially in America, although it's quite a progressive nation. It's something that people aren't able to really see the benefits from. But I've seen Desiree in her work, and she is highly skilled as a practitioner of natural medicine.
And then when my son Daniel was born, and my son Daniel is 25 years old now. When he was born autistic because of a drug. The first form of the drug was thalidomide. Remember thalidomide?
Exactly.
You know, kids were born with flippers and horrendous problems. So they re-engineered the drug, and they called it bendictine. And bendictine made children have learning disabilities, autism, and my son Daniel was like the Rain Man. He was autistic. The drug company was able to prove they did not know the damages before they sold it.
Okay, of the actual drug itself.
Yeah. And they didn't pay a penny in damages. Now, the guy makes this chair, and if I fall, which I could, but if I fall and get hurt, I can sue the guy who makes this chair. The guy makes a car, and he's liable. If the brakes don't work, you can sue him.
Right.
Every place in the law except the chemical companies. I found out there was something different here. We have to prove they knew it was going to hurt and still sold it.
Right.
And that was the basis of the cigarette thing, when all these cigarette executives had their hand on the Bible, you know, and they said, oh, we don't believe the cigarettes are addictive. We don't believe they cause cancer. Because we had to prove they knew it was going to hurt and still sold it.
And these all American companies.
Yes, the American law on product liability does not extend to the drug companies. We've given them some type of proviso. As I started to check into this, to the horror, I found out that all of the synthetic drugs made were risky, dangerous, and that they were all patterned off of some natural medicine, and the natural medicine had much more safety. And I started to find this out, that this was an horrendous situation. USA Today had the story, 75% of all drugs credentialed by the FDA involve some type of buyout, promises, jobs, grants, etc. I started to become very unpopular. In
the
States?
with the drug companies.
Okay. I had a lot of different problems with them. So I made a machine in 1989. I got it registered in America to measure the body electric. We could see the body electric. Brainwave, heart rate, changes inside your body electric. 1990, I then registered a machine that would treat the body electric. 1991, I was talking to the FDA, and I said, I got this machine that diagnoses, and I got this machine that treats, so I'm going to put them together, and when I find a problem in the brainwave, I'll fix it. And the FDA went crazy. The American FDA was, you can't do that.
Based upon?
And I said, why?
Yeah.
And they said, we don't have to answer that question. You don't have to answer that question. Okay. The FDA put more and more pressure on me because I was asked by the acupuncturist to credential acupuncture needles. Acupuncturists came to me. In 1976, they made a law in America to all medical devices had to be registered. They did not register acupuncture needles. The law says if it was in commerce before 1976, it should be grandfathered in. I found a receipt that George Washington bought acupuncture needles in 1776. We beat the deadline by a smidge.
Just,
you know?
Yeah, just a little.
They still didn't want a credential. I wrote up a 350-page paper showing that acupuncture needles should be registered. They then started an investigation against me at the FDA, because as long as there was an investigation against me and or a felony, my 350-page treatise would be moved to the back of the line.
Okay.
Would not be considered. This is the Sworn on the Altar movie.
Right, okay.
Now, I made a movie about this. So, eventually I was arrested, took to court. On Leap Day 1996, Judge Mach, the Oklahoma City bombing judge, he was my judge.
Okay.
And he came out, and you'll see this in the movie, and he comes out, and he says, I don't think this man committed any crime.
What was the actual crime they were?
Mail fraud.
Mail fraud, okay.
That's what their old standby that they tried to use with everybody.
Capone.
Right. Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
So the FDA dropped the case. They bumped me, winked at me, and said, we'll just get a new judge. Because this judge was now unfriendly to them. During that 2 weeks, after the case was dropped and the investigation was lifted, my paper came to the front in the FDA, and 2 weeks later, the FDA made acupuncture needles registered medical equipment. I had beaten the FDA.
Right.
6 months later, they went and got a new indictment against me. There has been an indictment against me in America ever since.
Mm-hmm.
We have given the drug companies so much power to destroy our freedom of speech, destroy product liability, to destroy our way of life and destroy our children, and that now iatrogenic doctor-caused drugs, diseases, is the number 2 cause of death in America.
Mm-hmm. And so, actually, in this sense, you're living in exile.
Yes, I left America to find freedom.
Yeah.
I left America to find freedom. So I came here, I built the machine. The machine's registered in Europe. I now have registered the machine back into America.
Okay.
We sell the machine around the world.
Where it's combined, and it does both.
And it does both. We're able to do this. And now it's a major technology all around the world, including America. And that's what I do. And I go around and lecture.
I've seen Desiree and her work and the way that she has helped many people and the way that she is able to make a connection.
And I started making movies to tell the story.
Yeah, and Desiree's movies are simply amazing. I mean, I always was a big fan of John Waters, but I've always found Desiree to be much more poignant, much deeper.
I started making movies to tell the different story.
And this is the birth of Desiree.
No, Desiree gets born a different way.
You're reborn over and over again.
You are my oxygen, you are my life. You ease my pain, you are my wife. I need you.
So when I came to Budapest and I met Desiree, I thought to myself, you know why I'm going to work with this person? Because there's very few chances in life when you get to meet someone who has the type of charisma, the type of energy, the type of, I don't know, superpowers maybe that this person has. And, you know, from being the person who invented a medical device which can help millions of people, to running Central Europe's largest gay nightclub, to having an outrageous fashion sense as a man and a woman, to having extraordinary families, and I say families in plural, and I mean it in plural. You have to really kind of sit back and think, I'm not going to meet another person like this for quite a while, and I want to find out more. Maybe it's going to change my own perception about myself. Maybe it'll just increase my view on what I think the world is and how the world works.
By all normal measurable IQ tests, we simply cannot find an IQ for Desiree. There seems to be no ceiling. The increase in speed of thinking and pure intelligence is completely unrivaled anywhere that I've seen in my professional career. This is an exciting new development in the area of cogitation, simply put, thinking, and much, much more research should be invested into this.
Okay, I'll tell you that story. How did Desiree get born? My father was born. When he was born, the penis was so small and pulled back that they thought it was female. The doctor actually checked his birth certificate female and asked my grandparents, asked them, what's the baby's name? They said Billy. And he put down Billie, which is the female spelling of Billy, because they thought it was a female. A week later, the penis popped out. They went back and they changed the birth certificate to male. Mm-hmm. But the name Billy is still there. That's my father's name.
Right.
Now, my dad grew up in a society, and he became extremely homophobic, extremely afraid of blacks, and just a very judgmental, an Archie Bunker, type, I was a young kid, and I had all these feelings of female inside me, and of course I pushed them down under, in America, and you got a dick, you're a man, okay, done.
Right. So the Brady Bunch.
And I was, I had pushed this underneath. It was a kind of like a secret that I wouldn't tell anybody. Couldn't possibly tell anybody. So I grew up with the idea and really liking women's clothes and etc., but I, held it under. I came to, I got married, my first wife, and all of a sudden now there's female clothes in the closet. It's kind of hard to resist,
Does she have good taste?
Not bad. She was kind of trashy. My first wife was really trashy.
All right.
So, which I like trashy women.
Some of my best friends.
So, then one day I told her, I came out and I dressed for her, and I told her, and she said, bye, go, adios. Okay, so I got married a second time. We had 2 kids, Terry and I. And we were together 10 years. Finally, one day I told her, I look better in that dress than you do. And, that was the straw. Actually, Daniel created the biggest problem for us because she did not know how to handle Daniel. She didn't know how to handle Daniel. That was our biggest problem. But this was the straw that broke the camel's back, and we separated. I had a third marriage for almost 10 years. Same thing.
In the States as well?
In the States.
Okay.
And I could be a man for a couple months in my mind. Then afterwards, in order for me to continue a sexual relationship, I could only continue if I thought that I was the female.
We're witnessing a person who is expressing their full being without fear, and it's an amazing, beautiful thing to witness.
So when I came to Budapest, I was working, and a second story I got to tell because this is the way it happens. I was doing my research, and one of the things I researched about was AIDS.
Desiree as a medical doctor is one of the best that I've ever seen.
I had done cancer research in Kiev, extensive cancer research in Kiev. We were able to show incredible results, absolutely incredible results of how incredibly superior and more safe natural chemotherapy was than synthetic.
Yes.
So that was incredible, and that's the work I was doing in Kiev. I had then was doing AIDS work here in Budapest, and I had been able to prove that what kills the AIDS patients is not the AIDS virus, but a combination of AIDS virus with antibiotics.
Okay.
The more antibiotics you give an AIDS patient, the faster he'll die. The two largest populations of AIDS were the homosexuals and the young children. The two populations where we pump antibiotics. Antibiotics are used in the homosexual population because of the rapid, syphilis and etc. And this is why they were dying, etc., and having the big problem, and children as well. And I was able to successfully prove this in a story. Little guy from Russia, little doctor, and I was given the paper at Singapore, the World Conference in Singapore, and a World Conference here in Budapest. I was able to show all this. And a guy invited me to come to Romania to this AIDS hospital. Check him out with my machine. I decided, okay, I was a naive schmuck. This is 1996. And I went there. And when I got there, it turned out it was not an AIDS hospital. They had told everybody to keep people away. It was a pedophile ring. Something completely different. My whole life had been about medicine, and all of a sudden now this pedophile ring was operating here, and the last thing they wanted was a doctor who would be able to tell the secret
to the world
that these were not AIDS. They stripped my clothes, tied me to a table. This is the movie Greatest Sin.
Okay.
They tied me to a table, put a wire around my neck. When you don't get oxygen, the world changes. Oxygen is really cool.
It's important.
It's really cool. All I can say is that for the hours, and as they put a bag over my head, and for hours he would come in making sure I couldn't sleep, dragging a knife all over my body and saying he's going to kill me. Well, okay, not now. I'll come back. The macho man, the John Wayne that I had grown up with, all of the John Wayne inside me died on that table. The macho man, the male, all of that died. The female character inside me hung on. It was really the female. It was the Desiree inside me that hung on. And the guy came in, and I was able to get one hand free. And I didn't have the other hand free, but I got the oxygen back because I could take the wire off. He came into the room. I grabbed his belt, grabbed his neck. He just grabbed him by the throat, and I crushed the life out of him. And the doctor inside me wanted to stop and save him. And I jumped out in the middle of the night in fucking Transylvania. I jumped into the middle of the night, running naked, people chasing me. I was able to get away into a stream, find myself a Hungarian family. I came back, and then this whole thing came about that a man from France, Jean-Pierre, had talked to me, and they got to this pedophile ring, and they were able to break up this part of it in Romania. And that led them to find Marc Dutroux, the most famous pedophile of Belgium. They found evidence of this. I was living in now here in Budapest. It was 1996. And at this point in my life, I finally decided that Desiree, this female character, and I chose the name Desiree because in my psychology training, I studied Buddhism. And the whole idea of Buddhism is that reducing desire is the way to reduce suffering. And I'd studied states of desire. And I thought, what a beautiful thing that pick the name Desiree, Right. Dubounet was picked because in Dustin Hoffman's movie Tootsie, when he first puts on the dress, he goes into a bar and orders a Dubounet with a twist. And I thought, I'm a Dubounet with a twist. So,
why not? It's dark.
So, Desiree Dubounet.
She really transcends art in many ways. She's so talented and so multidimensional that it's hard to know which Desiree you're going to meet.
Ildiko and I were together, and I was, falling in love with her. But I said, "Listen, I got to tell her who I am."
And she's Hungarian.
She's Hungarian. Yeah. And I was sweating bullets, and finally I decided, because in all the other relationships I would only say after 10 years. Kind of held it back a little bit, And
that was a pattern.
So I thought, no, I'm not going to do that now. And so there was a transvestite on television, and I told her, I'm like that. I have that same feeling. And she leaned to me and she said, let's go shopping. Let's go shopping.
A soulmate at last.
So, and Ildiko can shop.
Yeah.
We've been shopping for 10 years. So we started and then Desiree became more and more of a force. Mm-hmm. And now Desiree is more the dominant personality. And if you notice, everybody in the office here has called me Desiree. Nobody calls me Bill. No.
When you say businesswoman, sometimes people say Madonna, Jennifer Lopez. But in my circle of friends, I think only of Desiree.
So I still am both. I'm Desi Bell. Might be good. But I really have, decided that I'm going to, because when I was born, I was the same as my father. They didn't know if I was male or female. We checked the chromosomes, and I have both sexes.
Right.
So
you can claim it. Paul.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as far as like Desiree as the performer and the club, Alibi and all that, when did that come about?
Well, then after letting the Desiree character out and starting to make movies, and then we lost business in America. I had a distributor in America that I lost business because of the rumors of,
And that's for the medical machine.
Yeah, Bill was a cross-dresser.
Okay.
And all this other stuff. But because that's how I make my money, is through the medical machine.
Mm-hmm.
I came to Toronto, and I had to make the big decision. Because it's okay, it was so much fun to be Desiree here. So much fun to be Desiree here. And if people say something, I don't even know because I don't want to learn the language.
Right, yes.
But what would I do back there? Now we're talking North America, Toronto. So I made the decision, this was me. I put a great big picture of Desiree up on the wall. And I said, for those of you who know, this is Desiree. For those of you who don't know, that's me. And I just said, I want you to know. And I said, now for any of those of you who think this has anything to do with your machine, tell me now. All I want to tell you is that which hand I wipe my ass with is my business. But let's talk about your machine. Let's talk about what I've done to make your machine the best. All of a sudden, sales went rocket. And I started making more money because I had gone through that. And I had taken responsibility. And I don't know. But at any rate, things started working back again. Right. I started back into the money.
I've only known her for a few years, but in those few years, I've seen her grow as a businesswoman like no other person I've seen. And her portfolio is just blown out of proportion, and I'm just, in a good way, not in the bad, proportion way, but I personally just been stunned by everything that's been going on, and I just want to take notes from her.
I came back, I found out that I could sing. I started singing in a little club called The Heaven. The guy wanted to close the club, and I said, no, this is too much fun. This is too much fun. It was a little club.
Okay.
I built this club here in the basement. And I just started having fun. It was a lot of fun singing. It was a lot of fun doing things, So I had a good time. So then I decided, and then nobody would come because it was an old gypsy bar. I tried to find a bigger place because then we had a problem with the water. Water was coming in. The rumor was we were going to lose the building anyway, so I had to find a bigger place. And I looked and looked and looked and looked. Then God led me to the Alibi.
Okay.
So the Bohemian Alibi is my term. Bohemian is something I use. The Alibi was the original term, but I call it now the Bohemian Alibi, or I call it Planet Desiree.
Love a man like me. Love a woman like me.
I just have a larger-than-life story and a larger-than-life life.
because Desiree is the only person I've ever met who does not judge anything. Things make her angry, of course things make her angry, and normally I'm the one that cops it when she gets angry, but that's what friends are for. But other than getting angry, nothing is in the way of her creativity. Nothing stops her from doing or being whatever she wants to do or whoever she wants to be. And I know that sounds really easy, and I know it's really easy to say, but it's really difficult to do. Really difficult to do. And Desiree's probably the only person I know who is living proof of all of the people we wish we could be, all of the people we would want to be when we grow up. Desiree is proof that what we want to do, we can do.
How do you think that by doing what you're doing and being uninhibited by fear, social fear or anything like that it in turn creates fear in other people and subsequently stifles what you're trying to accomplish on a social level?
That's very interesting, because you're implying that by me being fearless and being so much free to be me, that would make other people afraid. And that's probably very valid. It's probably very true. Most people are afraid to meet me because they're afraid that my fearlessness would rub off on them. Very interesting. The number one fear of people in America is public speaking. People fear public speaking more than death. Why? They fear humiliation. And this is what I think is a problem with the homosexuals, because what are you afraid of? Ultimately, what could you possibly be afraid of? You could only be maximally afraid of humiliation because the chick you took home has a dick. Or you touched somebody, or whatever. But the ultimate fear is humiliation. Well, if that's your life, we all go through this humiliation. What's the big deal? Will Rogers said it best when he said that the highest sign of mental stability is being able to laugh at yourself. And I think that if you can laugh at yourself, you can recognize that what's wrong with the little humiliation here? It just makes you humble. That's what it's all about. Humiliation, humility. What's wrong with being humble? Why do people have to put themselves on some type of pedestal? My life was so much better when I got off of the doctor, professor pedestal. The doctor of medicine, the professor of medicine. I taught medicine here at Semmelweis, #1 university in all of Hungary. For 4 years, I was a professor of medicine. And when I got off of that pedestal, and this just became me, and then I don't care, the chick with the dick, the man with the dress, I think it really made statements, but I guess I see what you're saying, that could affect other people.
If I may, how did you go through the process of being completely released from your fear? Was it just...
I've always had a low sensor. I've never been one of those anal retentive people that looked at everything. But when I decided that male and female were not contradictory, that they could be in the same place at the same time, and that's what they say about geniuses, that Einstein recognized that an object that's falling is at rest. That two supposedly different things could be equal. They are at the same time. And they call it Janusian psychology, where you can look both ways. Janus was a god of Rome who looked in and out. And being able to see that was supposed to be genius. And I've always been able to do that. But when I finally really went that last going male and female, my mind just opened up. And as I started to see the world from the female side and the male side, it opened up my mind to the machine. It opened up my mind, and instead of worrying about what not to put in the machine, I just started putting anything that worked into the machine. And I started putting anything that worked into life. And then my voice and my creation and my movies, everything just got better. I was filled with creativity. And there's an energy of creativity and there's an energy of preservation. And I just found this energy of creativity. So many other people have the energy of preservation. They want to preserve things the way they are. They don't want things to change. And I think that we need both in this world. And I'm just a creative being.
Give me, doctor. Body language. Body language. Body.
So, you've been in Budapest since 1992.
Yeah.
Now, within that time, you've got the movies that you've done, like I think 16 in the can.
I have shot 18 movies.
Okay.
We have finished 12 of them that are pretty much done.
Mm-hmm.
And the other ones are in some state of editing process.
Okay. And they range from like topics that are close to you, like.
Well, 3 of them are directly about the medicine, personal stories. 2 of them are about the pedophile issue.
All right.
The silliest one is where we took a group of transvestites that saved the world from a nuclear bomb.
Okay.
And the theme of it is as a man thinks he is, because I'm trying to explain that. Then we made the movie about the gay issue, allowing the debate for the first time in history to make a movie that allowed the debate between the homophobics and the homosexuals. And I allowed the debate from the homophobics. And I've made movies. We shot a movie in Africa, a safari movie. It was a remake of Naked Prey. The original movie was made by Cornel Wilde.
Yeah.
You saw it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
He's running, yeah.
Well, I thought, wouldn't it be great, if I shot that type of movie and he was working for the drug companies. You see?
So he tied back in.
But he had to learn the natural medicine to survive. You see? So I made that type of a movie. And made movies about the Illuminati, which we made here. Is a movie about 1780, period piece. I shot a movie, Cat, at the same time, because I figured if I had to use the horses and the period piece and the guns and everything. Cat is a movie about a highwaywoman who falls in love with Ben Turpin, the most famous highwayman of England, you see. So I shot 2 period pieces. I've shot the epic adventure of the true story of Dracula.
Yeah, in Transylvania.
450 movies made about Dracula and vampires. One of the most, if not the most, prevalent topic in all movies. And nobody has ever told the true story.
Yeah.
In Coppola's Dracula, the first 3 minutes is the true story.
Okay.
And then, of course, Dracula comes back later. But that first 3 minutes, we made that the whole movie.
Yes.
Shot it in Transylvania with Transylvanians, 600 Transylvanians.
Yeah.
We were there, and I wanted to hire Romanian extras. And they said, well, how much would I pay? I said, I'll pay $5 a day.
Yeah.
And be in the battle scenes. They said, cool. How about if we bring a horse? How many horses? I said, I need 10 horses. I said, I'll pay $7 if you bring a horse. Okay, $5 without a horse.
Yeah.
$7 without. I had 175 horses in the ship.
They have that many horses there, eh?
So if I'm going to do a movie about that, I wanted to dot every I. Why is Romania Romania? Why is it named that? I wanted to tell the story of the blood fever, this blood fever virus that really, I believe it was a sickness that he had, that, was there. And I wanted to tell the story. If I'm going to do it, I wanted to do it thorough. I've made some incredible movies, and I can't get interest.
As a lawyer, I see forms of injustice every day, and I think that the travesty that has occurred in this situation with Desiree's movies is completely an outrage.
As far as getting them shown, or?
I can't. The best way to describe the problem, in that pedophile issue case, it turns out that Jean Baer, the Frenchman, liaison to me in 1997 was found with a bullet in his brain. Turned out later it was 2 bullets in his brain. He was killed. Originally the death certificate says suicide, but it's not true. There's 120 of his cases missing. 25 people related to this pedophile thing, witnesses, have been killed. 2 of them swore in written testimony that they saw the King and Queen of Belgium in sexual acts with children that were killed in Satanistic worship.
Right. Yeah.
25 people dead. I went to Arlon when Marc Dutroux was doing his case. Marc Dutroux was the original story that we told, because actually the story was about the case of Marc Dutroux. We had this fantastic story. For 5 years, the guy sits, for 7, 8 years, he sits and nobody would touch him, nobody would touch him. His whole case comes out in 2004. His whole case is that there is a international pedophile ring. He's just a pawn. In his basement, they found this torture chamber where he would keep kids. It's built with walls. The door is this thick on a hook that goes back and forth to hold the children in. It's obvious that there's not built for just 2 children.
Yeah.
Now, his whole case is he's just a pawn in this big pedophile ring. Nobody will listen, nobody will listen, nobody will listen. I go to Arlon. I rent a movie theater, 350 seats. I want to show my movie about this. There's 1,200 people from the press.
From the press.
We go there and pass out 500 flyers. People are talking, buzzing. Okay, cool. When's the movie? 7 o'clock. Great. The case is over at 5. I chose 7. That would give them enough time to come grab some food, because I was right next to the restaurant. The biggest hotel. Lots of interest. Nobody shows. One guy from RTL comes. He said, I don't want to watch your movie. He says, we know Marc Dutroux was in Romania. We know he was part of this ring. We know the ring exists. And I said, well, why don't you tell people? Isn't that like your job? Change the subject, walked away. We wrote 7,000 emails to all different people in the media, asking them to come to the film festival that we had here in Budapest to see this movie about the pedophile gang. Nobody responds to an email. Last 2 months ago, there's another pedophile case in Auxerre, France, which is the town that Jean-Bert is from. 66 people are taken on trial for this pedophile thing and this pedophile ring in his town. He was killed, 2 bullets in his fucking brain. This is the #1 story. It plays all day on CNN for 3 days. 1 day later, I have a press conference because I have some material about this.
Right.
I invite CNN, Sky, and all these people. Nobody shows.
I feel that Desiree should be given a chance, just like anyone else, to be heard. Her ideas are valid, and whether the public will like them or not is the public's choice, but they should at least be given the opportunity to view them.
Something's wrong here. Could the media be bought off? Is there somebody this powerful? I take a stand against the drug companies. I take a stand against these pedophile rings. I'm here to do this. I'm guided. I make movies. I make an afternoon at the movies in entertainment.
Yeah.
I do this type of thing, and nobody. Something is wrong. It isn't just that I've made 1 or 2 movies. I've made now 12 movies that I've finished. I've gotten out there. Here, what are you afraid of? Next year, the first day after George Bush got elected, the day after George Bush gets elected, he makes a big announcement that he doesn't even like the fact that gays could get married in Massachusetts. That bugs him.
Yeah.
He wants to have a national amendment to let the American people vote so that it will be completely illegal to ever allow any gays to be married in his country. Something's wrong here. there is some force that's trying to stop my work from coming to the silver screen. That can only happen because I think that there are some, I believe, and this might sound like I'm going too far, but I believe that there is an Illuminati. I don't believe that there's a card-carrying group of people that have a secret handshake. I don't believe that. I'm not going to show you my Illuminati card. I don't believe that. I believe there's a bunch of really, really rich people who get together because and they do. We know that they have their little organizations, and I think they kind of wink at each other. Mm-hmm. And there's certain things that they're going to allow or not allow. Michael Moore said, and I believe, there's 6 major media corporations that control every bit of media. Every music you hear on radio, every book that's published, every movie that you see, every bit of television. Mm-hmm. 6 corporations that control that. And if you get awry of those 6 corporations, they can keep you off. And I think that's what's happened. That massive amount of money that those people make is threatened by what I'm saying. I don't believe that it's just the fact that I make shitty movies. I don't believe that they're shitty movies. But even if they're shitty movies, somehow or another I'd get some type of...
You at least would think that somebody would write you to tell you that your movie was shitty.
Exactly.
At least that much.
Exactly.
So,
somebody would come to sit in front of the movie out of those 350 seats. Somebody would sit there and fall asleep and get up and insult me.
Right.
Or whatever,
Right. So then your response to it is to either lay the mantle down and give up, or you can do the TV route, or what?
I'm not the kind of person that gives up.
That's what I thought. Okay.
It ain't in the genes.
So what's the master plan?
Well, what I do is I keep making my creations. Mm-hmm. I make a new type of movie. I make a movie that you have to think. I don't make a mindless dude, where's my car type of thing. I make a movie where I'm going to involve an issue. I'm going to involve both sides of an issue. I'm going to give you something to think about. I'm going to make an action adventure, but instead of just having 30 seconds of an intellectualism, I'm going to give you 30 minutes of an intellectualism.
Okay.
I think that there are people who want this. I know my movies aren't for everybody. A lot of people don't want to think. Mm-hmm. Don't want to go to movies to think.
No, not to think.
You shouldn't go to one of my movies if you don't want to think. I just couldn't imagine that when I started making the movies, my first movie, Water, Wine, Homeopathy, I took it to Miramax. Here in Budapest, there's a Miramax connection. Mm-hmm. They sent it to the English office. The guy looked at it. The guy called me up and he says, you got an excellent movie here. You do. You move the camera well. Mm-hmm. You got nice action. You got a nice story. You foreshadow things. The whole thing comes together. I'm really proud of this movie. Miramax tells me, you got a good movie here. You'll make money with it. However, if we put our name on it, the drug companies will be all over us. They will sue us for our underwear. Mm-hmm. And you saw The Insider, what the tobacco companies could do. And here, 60 Minutes backs down from the tobacco companies. Mm-hmm. And that's all I can do.
Exactly. And if not, then there is the other option of, like you said, the internet cable stations.
If I have to do that,
which would actually get it out to even bigger market.
Well, it would. I could go that, but then I would lose the idea of ever getting a nomination for an Academy Award. And but if I got nominated for an Academy Award, the whole world's changed tomorrow.
Yes.
I'd like to thank the nomination is just as good.
It's just as good as the award itself.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
Because do you really want the approval of those people? You see what they're putting out?
I want to change the world is what I want to do. And
there you go.
And I believe that my movies, you got an afternoon, okay, you got the new Mel Gibson flick, or you can see the new Bill Nelson flick. That within just a matter of months, the world would have a new vision of medicine, a new vision of this pedophile gang would finally be destroyed. and on and on and on. And I think that the world would be a different place.
Yeah.
So
that's a goal.
That's my goal.
That's a good one.
I'm trying to do this.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would agree. It's like, even skimming through the ideas of it, it's like the messages that you're trying to get out are like they're purely strong, good messages, and it's like the point from A to Z is like it's all subjective to people, like what they think is good or whatever. But the bottom line is the messages are good.
You do not have to speak to everybody.
Exactly.
So when I chose to make my movies, I don't try to make my movies for the broad audience of dude, where's my car?
Right.
Which is the mindless, people. I try to make a movie designed for talk. You're going to watch my movie. I want to make sure you're entertained. I tell all my guys making a movie. And I tell them, eye candy, something for the eye, something for the ear, something for the mind, something for the emotions. Mm-hmm. Every 15 seconds, I want something.
Yeah.
I want to get something a little bit here and there to keep the motion going. That's our dictum. At the same period of time, I probably give an awful lot more brain candy than what anybody else would.
Yeah.
I take an issue, and especially in the homophobic issue, I tore it apart.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, you're going to get diabetes from the brain candy I'm going to give you in that movie.
How kind of has all of your tremendous advancements in natural science and how far you've taken your aggressive stances against a lot of the things that are wrong with society, how does that happen simultaneously with this tremendously animated cartoon-like character who is also the owner of one of the hottest clubs in Budapest here?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. When I became Desiree, I had to allow barriers to drop. I had to allow censors that before would say that behavior you can't. I had to suddenly open my mind to what is, and not try to control it so much. And when I did, this performer, this nightclub owner, this cartoon character that is really me actually steps forward. And yes, I'm that mad little scientist who created something that nobody could see. And one of the hardest parts of doing what I did was finding a machine that could cure cancer. And I left America. Yes, I left America to find freedom. And yes, I've had to fight out of situations. And yes, I'm basically a cartoon character. I'm a superhero. I'm not good like Wonder Woman. So
American.
Yeah, I'm more of the barbed wire. But yeah, I'm a freaking cartoon character. So my larger than life persona, it's just a matter of time before we attract some more attention, I suppose. And Americans don't like people who are different. That's why I'm different.
Yes, I have taken a look at Desiree's portfolio, and what word would come to mind? I think the word would be impeccable.
She really transcends art in many ways.
Desiree as a medical doctor is one of the best that I've ever seen.
His compassion in his heart is so huge, and his ability to express himself and to tell stories, and his smile is so beautiful and big, and he just lights up a room.
As a music producer, I hear things all the time, and I can honestly say his voice is world class.
I realized that she's doing a really, really good job, and it's just amazing.
To make one movie as an independent filmmaker is nearly impossible, and yet to make 18 is a feat of enormous measures.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm still with the man or the woman, because, he's right on what he's doing.
Businesswoman.
So talented.
Highly skilled.
Transformation and transcendence.
world class.
Really, really good job.
Ideas are valid.
Tremendous energy.
I think the word that would stand out the most for Desiree would be
clarity
of mind.
I won't stop doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm creating. I'm expressing my visions into film. And I'm hoping that someday there'll be a market. And someday that there will be the freedom for this market.
Mm-hmm.
And if nothing else, I'll have the most expensive home movies ever made.
If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd be married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd be married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd be married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd be married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd be married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
Well, that's the end of that. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me tell you, as a true friend of Desiree Dubounet, I can state firmly that everything that you did see is true. And I hope that you appreciate it. And if you want to know more, and if you want to find out more, and if you want to meet Desiree Dubounet, then the only thing you have to do is come to Bohemian Alibi Uluoyud 45 in Budapest. I'll be standing there at the door with a glass of champagne. Come along. Anytime you like, I'll be waiting.
Thank you.